Getting older does not mean giving up control. In 2025, break-ins are faster, bolder, and more unpredictable than ever, and the right firearm can be the difference between staying safe and being overwhelmed. Most people assume the answer is a heavy shotgun or a compact pistol, but for anyone over 60, the best choice is something completely different. This is Guns with Rex Dalton, and today we are breaking down the home defense firearms built to give older shooters the control, confidence, and stopping power they need, without the punishing recoil or awkward handling that can make a bad situation worse. Let's get started. When most people picture home defense, the first thing that comes to mind is a 12-gauge shotgun. For decades, it has been the classic answer, and for good reason. The sound of racking a shell alone can stop an intruder cold, and at close range, buckshot carries enough stopping power to end a fight fast. But if you're over 60, there are some harsh truths about that choice that often get ignored. A standard defensive shotgun with an 18 or 20-inch barrel is over 3 feet long. Try moving that through a hallway or a tight doorway without telegraphing your position, and you will quickly find yourself fighting the gun as much as the threat. The length alone can slow you down or even give away your presence as the barrel peeks around corners before you do. Recoil is another issue. Heavy buckshot loads can punish a shoulder that has seen better days, and follow-up shots become slow and inconsistent. What feels manageable at the range can feel like a brick wall when adrenaline is high and your joints are stiff. Does that mean a shotgun is out of the question? Not completely, but for many, the idea of fighting with a long, heavy gun that bucks hard on every shot is not as comforting as it once was, which is why so many older shooters start looking to handguns as their next answer. But handguns come with their own challenges, especially for those of us over 60. Shooting a pistol accurately under stress is not as easy as movies make it look. Pistols have a short sight radius, which means even a slight hand tremor can push a shot off target, especially beyond 5 to 7 yards. Add in adrenaline, dim lighting, and the possibility of needing quick follow-up shots, and accuracy becomes a real problem. There is also the issue of recoil and grip strength. Even a 9mm pistol can feel snappy if arthritis or reduced grip strength makes it harder to control the gun. A flinch or a poor grip can throw off your aim, and the recoil can make follow-up shots slower than they need to be. Most people do not train regularly enough to overcome these problems, and without consistent practice, running a handgun during a real emergency can feel overwhelming. And then there is ammunition capacity and reload speed. While many modern handguns carry between 10 and 17 rounds, reloading under stress is not as simple as it sounds. A fresh magazine must be inserted with precision, and when your hands are shaking from adrenaline, arthritis, or both, even pressing a mag release or seating a new magazine can feel clumsy. That is not to say handguns are useless. They remain the most compact and versatile defensive firearms, especially when paired with the right upgrades. A weapon-mounted light can make target identification easier, and modern micro-red dot optics can simplify aiming for aging eyes. For those willing to practice, a full-size 9mm pistol with low recoil defensive ammo and a red dot sight can work well. But for many homeowners over 60, there is an option that strikes a better balance between ease of handling, accuracy, and stopping power. It is the pistol caliber carbine, or PCC. These are compact rifles chambered in common handgun calibers like 9mm or 45 ACP, and they combine the control of a long gun with the softer recoil and simplicity of pistol ammo. In a home defense setting, this balance can make a life or death difference. A PCC is significantly shorter than a typical shotgun, usually coming in around 30 inches or less with the stock extended. That makes it far easier to move through hallways, staircases, or doorways without the barrel sticking out where a threat could grab it. Because it shoulders like a rifle, you gain 3 solid points of contact: your firing hand, your support hand, and the stock locked into your shoulder. That stability alone cancels out most of the natural hand tremors or unsteady movements that can come with age, making your shots more accurate without needing to train like a competition shooter. The recoil is another advantage. A 9mm fired through a 16-inch carbine barrel barely kicks harder than a 22 long rifle, so follow-up shots are quick, controlled, and less likely to aggravate old injuries or strain your shoulders. Even with hotter defensive loads, the muzzle rise stays minimal, letting you stay on target without fighting the gun. PCCs also make aiming far simpler, especially when paired with a red dot optic. Unlike iron sights, which require you to line up the rear sight, front sight, and your target, a red dot lets you keep both eyes open and focus on a single point. You shoulder the gun, find the dot, and press the trigger. For shooters whose eyesight is not what it used to be, this can mean the difference between hesitation and confidence. Capacity is another strong point. Most PCCs use detachable box magazines, many of which are compatible with popular handguns. A Glock-patterned PCC can use the same 17 or even 30-round magazines as your sidearm, which means fewer reloads and faster changes if you run dry. In a moment where your adrenaline is spiking, slapping in a fresh magazine is far easier than fumbling with shotgun shells. For homeowners in their 60s and beyond, a PCC represents a firearm that does not just meet your needs, it adjusts for them. You get the control and accuracy of a rifle, the softer shooting characteristics of a pistol, and the modularity to add lights, optics, and extended magazines so your setup is tailored to you. Not just what is trending at the local gun shop. But even with the right firearm, there is one part of home defense people rarely prepare for until it is too late. The noise. Shooting indoors is nothing like shooting at the range. A single round fired in a narrow hallway or a bedroom can feel like a flash grenade going off in your ears. It is not just the sound, it is the way the blast bounces off the walls, amplifies, and leaves you momentarily stunned. That split second of disorientation can cost you the focus and awareness you need most in a fight. So switching to a pistol caliber carbine offers a major advantage here. While a 9mm carbine is still loud, the sound and concussion are far more manageable than a 12-gauge blast. The reduced muzzle pressure makes it easier to stay aware and keep your head clear. And for those who want an extra layer of protection, a suppressor is worth serious consideration. In states where they are legal, adding a properly installed suppressor to your carbine is not about making it silent. It is about reducing the worst of the blast so you can hear yourself think. A suppressed 9mm is not quiet, but it takes the edge off enough to keep your ears functional and your mind sharp during the chaos. That control can mean the difference between a clean decision and a dangerous mistake. Even without a suppressor, subsonic 9mm loads can help. They create less crack and less flash, which is easier on your ears and your vision in a darkened hallway. Pair that with the softer recoil of a carbine, and you have a setup that keeps you calm and collected rather than overwhelmed and disoriented. For anyone over 60, staying alert and functional after the first shot is just as important as the first shot itself. Now, noise is only half the battle when it comes to staying in control during a home defense encounter. The other danger most people underestimate is what happens after the bullet leaves the barrel. Stopping the threat is one thing, but making sure your round does not keep traveling and hit someone you love in another room is just as important. That is where understanding overpenetration can mean the difference between safety and tragedy. A 12-gauge shotgun is not as safe as many assume. With 0.0 or 0.00 buckshot, those 8 or 9 lead pellets stay so tightly grouped at close range that they act almost like a single slug. At typical home distances, they can blow through several layers of drywall and in some cases, even breach exterior walls. Every pellet that keeps moving is still your responsibility, And that risk does not disappear once the threat drops. Some homeowners switch to birdshot, thinking its lighter weight solves the problem. The issue is, birdshot is built for birds, not stopping a determined attacker. At close range, it may wound, but it often lacks the penetration needed to stop someone wearing heavy clothes or under the influence of drugs. If that first shot does not end the fight, you may not get a second chance. This is where pistol caliber carbines stand apart. Using the right ammo, specifically jacketed hollow points or JHPs, reduces overpenetration risk while still stopping a threat. Hollow points expand on impact, dumping more energy into the target so they stop faster, while slowing the bullet enough to keep it from exiting the body or punching through multiple walls. If a JHP misses and hits a wall, the cavity and jacket usually fragment or deform, often stopping within the wall itself. Compare that to full metal jacket practice rounds, which stay intact and can rip through drywall, studs, and insulation with enough force to hurt someone you never aimed at. Pair a 9mm or 45 ACP carbine with quality hollow points, and the longer barrel gives those rounds a small velocity boost, ensuring reliable expansion even with subsonic loads. The result is a balance of safety, control, and stopping power that most shotguns and FMJ pistols cannot match. For anyone over 60, this is not just about firepower, it is about protecting your family as much as yourself. Now, stopping power is critical, but in a real home defense scenario, your survival can come down to how quickly you can keep your gun running. For shooters over 60, this is where the difference between shotguns, pistols, and pistol caliber carbines becomes clear. When adrenaline hits, fine motor skills fade. Stiff joints, arthritis, or shaky hands make small, precise tasks feel harder than they should. And nowhere is that more obvious than during a reload. Most 12-gauge shotguns carry 5 to 8 shells. Once you burn through them, topping off under stress is slow and unforgiving. You are grabbing loose shells, feeding them into the loading port one at a time, often in low light with your hands trembling and your heart pounding. Drop one and seconds disappear fast. Even seasoned shooters struggle to keep the rhythm in chaos. Pistol caliber carbines solve that problem. Most use detachable box magazines holding 15 to 30 rounds, depending on the model and local laws. When one runs dry, you press the release, slam in a fresh mag, and get back on target in seconds. These big, simple actions rely on gross motor skills, which are far easier to perform under pressure than the delicate movements shotgun reloads demand. Take the Ruger PC carbine or SIG MPX. Both are light, compact, and feed from high-capacity mags that double what most shotguns hold. Even with a full 30-round magazine, these carbines stay more maneuverable and easier to shoulder than a fully loaded 12-gauge. They let you focus on controlling the threat, not fumbling with shells in the dark. For older shooters, this edge can turn a frantic scramble into a controlled, confident response. You are not fighting the gun, you are letting it work with you so you can stay steady and in control when every second counts. Now, even the best gun is only as effective as your ability to see and aim with it. That becomes harder as the years add up. In a dark hallway or stairwell, relying on ambient light is a risk, and juggling a handheld flashlight while gripping a gun is even worse. The answer is simple: a weapon-mounted light. A compact, high-output flashlight mounted on your carbine or defensive rifle keeps both hands on the gun. Wherever the muzzle points, the beam follows, instantly lighting corners and doorways. Modern lights push past 1,000 lumens, bright enough to disorient an intruder while giving you full control of your environment. That burst of light not only lets you see clearly, it can also buy you valuable seconds if a threat freezes or backs off. Seeing is only half the equation. Hitting your target fast and consistently is the other. Traditional iron sights require lining up the rear sight, the front sight, and the target, 3 focal points that younger eyes handle more easily. For shooters with a few more birthdays, that speed and precision can be harder to pull off, especially in a crisis. A red dot optic solves that problem. A quality red dot keeps things simple. You keep both eyes open, stay aware of your surroundings, and put the dot on your target. There is no juggling sight alignment, just one clear point where you want your round to land. For shaky hands, bifocals, or mild astigmatism, modern optics with adjustable brightness and crisp glass make aiming fast and effortless. Together, a red dot and weapon light turn a pistol-caliber carbine into a system designed for older shooters. You can control dark spaces, identify what you are facing, and land accurate shots without struggling with your vision or complex sight alignment. Now that we have covered why pistol-caliber carbines make sense, let's look at the ones best suited for someone over 60. Not every carbine checks the right boxes. Weight, ease of use, and reliability matter more than flashy extras. The Ruger PC carbine is often the go-to choice. It is simple, durable, and uses Glock magazines, which are easy to find and load. At just under 7 pounds, it is light enough to hold steady without feeling flimsy. Its takedown design makes storage easy, and the 16-inch barrel boosts 9mm velocity for consistent hollow point expansion. A threaded barrel comes standard for those who can run a suppressor. For shooters wanting something more refined, the Sig Sauer MPX delivers. Its short length, soft recoiling gas system, and smooth trigger make it easy to run even with weaker grip strength. The full-length rail and M-LOK handguard allow for lights, optics, and other add-ons. And with 30-round magazine options where legal, it offers staying power in tense moments. If compact size is the priority, the CZ Scorpion Evio 3S2 Micro is a standout. Weighing just over 6 pounds with a 4.5-inch barrel and brace, it moves easily through hallways or stairs. Paired with a red dot optic, aiming feels as natural as pointing a finger. Factory 10-round magazines keep it compliant in restrictive states without affecting reliability. Ammunition is as important as the gun. Skip full metal jacket rounds, which punch through walls and keep going. Load quality jacketed hollow points like Spear Gold Dot or Federal HST. They expand on impact, stop threats faster, and reduce the risk of over-penetration, performing even better out of a carbine barrel. Round out the system with a weapon-mounted light in the 800 to 1000 lumen range, a red dot optic for quick aiming with aging eyes, and spare magazines staged for easy reloads. Together, these turn a simple carbine into a full defensive setup that steadies shaky hands, keeps recoil light, and simplifies every action under stress. Could a budget shotgun or compact pistol save you money? Yes, but they demand more strength, steadier hands, and sharper vision than many older shooters want to gamble with when lives are on the line. A carbine setup like this is about stacking the odds in your favor and giving yourself tools that let you act decisively when it matters most. And that wraps up our look at the best home defense setup for those of us over 60, a system designed to balance control, safety, and speed when it counts the most. Some of these options may already be in your safe, while others could be the upgrade you need before the market catches on and demand drives prices up. But picking the right defensive firearm goes beyond barrel length or capacity. It's about choosing something you can handle confidently and trust in the worst possible moment. Subscribe to Guns with Rex Dalton for more breakdowns of the firearms that prove their worth when it matters most. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.